Hi guys, it's Dan here. So I did a little research here, and I want to get into some serious problem, not only with Raymond Krebs. Um, I want to get into what I think the country is failing at, let's say. And so I did some research. I have papers all over the place here. And now this is about the offended outcast. And this is studies I'm going to read here. Previous SO offenses is one of the strongest historical warning signs in a study of 4,724 adult male SOs. People without a previous SO conviction had 19.4% recidivism rate. Wow. Now here's the kicker. Here's the kicker. Over 15 years means 15 years. It is a 37.2% recidivism rate amongst this group of SOs. Now, from what I'm reading here, there's two different kinds, adult one and underage. So this would apply to the underage. Now, I want to bring some things up that are important. I don't want people to think that I'm just picking on them and I'm just talking. I have a bunch of papers that I'm going to go through here. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to read first here is a lot of this recidivism rate is poverty, your the way you're living, where you're living, and your social behavior. Um, and in your social behavior, um, if you're violating the rules, you become even a greater risk. So this number could be actually higher than 37.2%. And now, as far as Ray's record, is he violated probation in Florida, as I remember. He paid some fine or something because he violated parole or whatever, and they released a whole bunch of stuff about even adding to this 37.2%. Um, now, so it's a huge recidivism risk, and it makes people ask the question, and I'm going to get into this further, is like, what is our government and our state doing? Because from my understanding and what I've looked up, approximately the government is spending $100,000 per year to house one inmate in prison. So if that person spends like 10 years, like I assume Ray did, that's $1 million. And from what I understand, when they let them out, and I looked it up, I think they get $20 or $40. Here you go, man. You're on your own. Does this make sense to you? What programs are involved in here? I mean, is prison really meant to rehabilitate people or to punish people? I would think that the way to go about this would be maybe a little bit of both. Give somebody a timeout for a while, um, and and rehabilitate them while they're in prison, and then when they get out, have something at least to help them, you know, move in the right direction. Because if you're just going to let people out of prison and say, here you go, here's $20, man, and what are you going to expect them to do? They're going to have no money. What are they going to, are they going to reoffend? Are they going to commit a crime because they need something to eat? What are these people going to do? So what's in place for people like Ray when they get out of prison? Because from my understanding, he got out, he traveled around a little, with some more crimes, and then he lives in a camper somewhere, alone. So now he's alone with his thoughts, and And I didn't really see anybody else around there in that other camper when he first started. And then he goes to the middle of, he's secluded again in the middle of nowhere in the cabin. And so I don't hear anything about treatment. Now I don't want to get into all that. So what I do understand, and I have it here. Oh, here it is that some of the medications that they put these type of people on, and they're called SSRIs, antidepressants, and they go on here. And that's kind of like for less severe cases. And then they got, I don't understand why they have these four medical terms like this. I can't even forget. Methoxypressatine, oxy. I don't know what that is. It lowers your yeah, I can't say the word. I don't know why. So it lowers your desire, I guess. GnRH something. And it suppresses the testosterone. That's another one, I guess. Seroprocessine actate. Now, this one is banned in the United States, but it is okay in Europe. Now, another one here, which was really shocking to me. I didn't really know that this was really an option, but chemical castration. You believe that? Whoa. And there's a word here. Whoa, that's like 100 letters long. So this chemical castration, I guess that's not actually an operation, but it does basically the same thing. And wow, it is really a debilitating disease, this. I didn't really know that. And no wonder why they have people on the registry, because I don't think there's a cure for it. I think they have to give people medications for this. And if they have to give people lifetime medications for this type of stuff, is Ray on any of these medications? Because from my understanding, it wasn't one time. It was a repeated thing. And I don't know the victim's side of the story, but it was a repeated thing, and he should have, stopped himself and had some self-control, and I'm going to get comments. And I didn't use harsher words, but he didn't control himself here. So if he couldn't control himself, can he control himself now? Is the question. Is there something that we don't know about? And what's very disturbing to me, and I wanted to bring this up, what's very disturbing is that he's doing videos, but he wrote this on his description on his channel, and I'll read it to you. Offended Outcast. Welcome to the Offended Outcast. This channel is about something pretty simple. What happens when life doesn't turn out the way you thought it would. Around here, we're not going to pretend the past didn't happen. We're not going to make bad decisions or run away from our personal responsibility. Come on, man. So we own it. We learn from it, but we also believe something else. Life doesn't end with a label. I'm going to talk openly about what life really looks like on the registry. When? What convicted felons face when trying to rebuild their lives. I'll move on here, but you were walking in the field a couple of days ago. You didn't say anything. You just told all these senior citizens how to save money by not buying gas or something in your car. I don't know. by buying a used car instead of a new car. Anyway, society it could be good punishment, but not always very good, allowing people to move forward. I happen to agree with that. I think society should be allowed to move you forward. I'm a registered SO, and I'm going to talk openly about what life is really like on the registry. As you know, I have a heart condition. I cough. what convicted felons, when they're faced trying to rebuild their lives, and what it means to live in society that can be very good at punishment, but not always very good at allowing people to move forward. I agree. I would agree with that. What's instituted to let you move forward with your life, and what are you going to have to do to move forward with your life? Because you can't just rely on the government. What are you doing to move forward? I'm a registered SO and convicted. My name is Raymond George Krebs, and I was convicted of the crime of R. Life doesn't end with a label. A future still is possible. Sometimes just needs a fresh start and a little courage. Subscribe, blah, 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 blah. And then, all right, so that's his description. And so you said all this on your description, but you didn't institute any of this. You didn't say anything. You just went right back into the videos. You pretend like nothing's happened. This is disturbing, because if you're pretending nothing happened on your videos, is what's going on in your head. You know, are you still up to this? Do you still have thoughts of this? Are you on medications to subdue your urges? It's not only this, because before this, and I don't really remember or care about that, there was some car involved and some guy driving in a hotel room and they caught you or whatever. Then before that, there was something else. Was there forgery or something? And before that, there was something else. But it's not only that. You know, it's a pattern. And it's been 20 years, I guess, since this. But it says here that after 15, it's the rate of recidivism rate is up to like 40% almost, and probably higher because of that offense. So does somebody want to live next to you? No, especially with younger people. We don't want to live next to you. So I think the best bet for you is to live out there in the woods. And I think you could do it. I think you could get all the amenities that you need, because in society, they're not going to accept you. Being that you're well known on YouTube, your face is very recognizable. You have to excuse me. And it's going to be horrible. You'd be better off living in the woods. I think society would be better off living in the woods, so we wouldn't have to be scared of this offense. We're not talking about a misdemeanor here. You know, we're not talking about disturbing the peace, you know, getting a little ticket. We're talking about, you know, some serious stuff. And I try to keep the words that they used in this out of it. Do I have anything else here? This is more studies. They've been studying this for years, but there doesn't seem to be a cure for this. And I didn't know that. But like, I would think that you're monitored. I would think that you have a plaque on your door saying who you are in case, you know, trick-or-treaters come by or something. I would think that would be. I would think your neighbors would want to know. But you know what disturbs me too? It's disturbing that Jeb, because he's another felon. He's another felon. If you're not following the story, Jeb's journey, he's another felon. And he has, like, I assume, like 7 charges that Nurse Ratchet, I like to call her, Life of Vibe, was showing the record. And you see all the mugshots. And, you know, some of that was serious stuff. And so and was he living there? Or who was going to live on the property? Or was he tenting on the property? I don't know. But you're living with another felon. So, you know, kind of similar charges, I guess. And so did you get together and talk about old times in prison? I don't know, man. I don't know. And you know, I also did some digging. I didn't get into too much research about the couple. I ain't hear no bell. And I don't know how accurate this is, but I did see a video on it. Ellie, the girl, was Was she arrested for some kind of harassment? And then they were trying to make it on YouTube, and they failed as a photography studio or something, and they failed, and now they're doing the same thing. And I don't know, man. So I think that you should be a little bit more truthful with your subscribers, and instead of doing just jumping back into the videos, I think you should jump into what you said you were going to do. You're going to explain all this, what you're doing to get out of it. You know, like that video I did the other day. You know, like Rocky. You know how he overcome, poverty basically, and what steps he took to become a great boxer. And that was the whole story. And so that should be your story, I think. I think your story should be something similar to that. But you're not going to do it in society, I don't think. You can't do it in society. It would be too hard, in my opinion. It would be way too hard. You're better off in the woods. That's the whole story, is being off in the woods and trying to survive in the woods. And another thing, it was bothering me. When you do your videos, Ray, instead of saying how horrible the government is, and how hard it is to overcome, and basically the government is basically oppressing its people, kind of, do the little bit of why, and ways around it, different steps that you could take, not trying to save gas by getting a used car or whatever that was about. Buying a used car and getting rid of your car because the payments are too high. I don't think that's a good route to go. I think it would be a better route to, how much do you get on SSI? Like, how do you make that stretch through the month? I think that would be a better story. And why the government is only giving this amount. And how could the government really expect you to live on this amount and survive? So the government is setting people up, I think, for failure. It's a great gesture, but the problem here is that the government will give you this $1,000 a month, and then if you try to work, they're going to take money from the money that they give you, and so you're actually better off not working. And if you make too much, they take the whole thing. Now you're going to be making less money than what they would give you. So it keeps perpetuating people to be poor. It makes people kind of weak, like they just continue living off of government benefits without trying to get off of them. And that's a really big problem in the country. What are there, like 40 million people that they just make their lives so easy by giving them money? And most of these people are not, if you look at the percentages of these type of people, they're not citizens that were totally on the up and up. I mean, I don't see somebody going through college and having some kind of career, wanting to live on state benefits. I have a heart condition, and it's really bothering me today. What's the answer to that? We want to know. But I'm not supporting the offended outcast. I'm just seeing what I see and saying what I want to say about this whole situation. And a final thought here about Jeb's journey. I came out with a short yesterday. It's about the 10th one in from the top. I edited a video. It's really pretty good. It took me a couple hours to edit it. It's called The Devil. It's kind of like a performance art piece. I edited it. It's really cool. You should take a look at it. And you know, I didn't get a lot of views on it compared to some of the other ones, Perfect Woman stuff. But it's okay. And it's really cool. So what does Jeb do? As soon as I come out with that video, as soon as I come out with that video, he does a video on fancy editing. He does. And you see him like, you know, he's this fancy editing, and what a great editor he is. You know, at least he's not boring Jeb anymore. He's still boring Jeb, but he's just trying to copy me. And he knows that. And he probably knows that I was going to say that too. He probably knows that because he's always talking about me. Oh, he's always talking about it. You could listen to him in his videos. You're wearing out the keys talking about me, man. You're wearing out the keys. He said that in another video. He won't mention my name. No. He won't mention my name, but you know it could only be me. So anyway, it's 20 minutes long. I was gonna read more statistics and details and stuff like that, but I don't really like these. These kind of like formatted AI videos. They're boring to me. I'd rather see somebody just talk off the top of their head. So anyway, I appreciate you guys. I'm going to do another video later about my artwork and probably a couple more poems. Oh, like and subscribe. Bye-bye, guys.